Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to prove that the men at the top know exactly what's going on and they are evil. This video is going to be about Johannes Greber. I know a lot of you already know about him, but I found some new information that's very interesting. If any Jehovah's Witnesses are watching, I'd like to ask that you watch till the end, because there's some information you really would like to know about. All publications that are scanned in this video are from original books and magazines. There are no PDFs or anything like that. There's a man, his name is Jim Baber. He has his own channel. I'll link it in the description. He has his own library of all Watchtower's publications and magazines, and so all scans in this video come from there. Since there are so many videos about Johannes Greber, I'm sure you already know he is a spirit medium. And the Watchtower has quoted him many times throughout the years in their publications to support their Bible translation. His Bible translation came out 13 years before Watchtower's New World Translation did, but their New World Translation reads the exact same as the Spirit Medium's Bible translation does. So here's just a few instances of when the Watchtower has quoted Johannes Greber. I'm going to go through these kind of quick, so if you want to read them, go ahead and stop the video and read. This is one you're all familiar with, The Word, Who Is He According to John. It's from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society from 1962. And remember to pay attention to the dates because they're very important. It's here on page 5, where they quoted him in favor of their John 1:1. Next is the Watchtower from September 15th, 1962. This is on page 554, and here once again they're quoting Greber in favor of John 1:1. Next we have the book Make Sure of All Things, Hold Fast to What Is Fine from 1965, and this is on page 489. They also quote Greber in support of their John 1:1. Next is Aid to Bible Understanding. Now we're into the 70s. Both on page 1134 and 1669 they quote him. Here's 1134. But here they quote him for Matthew 27, verse 52 and 53. On page 1669, they quote him for John 1:1. Next, we have the Watchtower from October 15th, 1975, on page 640. And here they are quoting him in support of Matthew 27, verse 52 and 53. And finally, we have one more favorable quote from the Watchtower, April 15th, 1976, on page 231, in support of Matthew 27, 51 through 53. Now, all these quotes came from the New Testament I was talking about by Johannes Greber. It came out in 1937. And they are quoting two different parts. I'm going to read them here for you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was a God. Now the other part they quote is Matthew. Tombs were laid open, and many bodies of those buried there were tossed upright. In this posture they projected from the graves, and were seen by many who passed by the place on their way back to the city. Now in Johannes Greber's second book, Communication with the Spirit World, he explains how he wrote his translation of the Bible from seances and having spirits tell him. And we're going to read from this book. See if this sounds like Jehovah's Witness teaching to you. You teach of the union of three persons in one Godhead, maintaining that there are three spirits, each of which is a true deity, but which when united are one God as to substance. This is a piece of human fallacy and is an absurdity. There is no union of three persons and no Trinity in the sense in which you teach. God is an individual person. Only the Father is God. All other Holy Spirits are God's creatures. None of them is the Father's equal. Remember, this is what he's being told by spirits. Furthermore, you teach of a God who inflicts eternal punishment, and you teach of an everlasting hell. Hell is not everlasting. God is love. He does not condemn any creature eternally. All those who have incurred the guilt of deserting him will ultimately return unto him. That is the truth, and I shall prove to you on another occasion. Now here are some more teachings that Greber got from the spirit world by doing seances. Christ is the highest spirit which the omnipotent God could create. He is in every way God's most perfect image, so far as any created spirit can possess the Creator's perfection. Hence St. Paul rightly calls him the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Christ is therefore not God, and is so generally taught today, but the first created Son of God, and as such his highest and most perfect creature. Does this not sound like Jehovah's Witness teaching? But remember, Johannes Greber is a spirit medium. He believes in communicating with God's spirit world. That's where he got these teachings from. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, why is it that the only true religion on earth has to quote from a spirit medium? Now, in Johannes Greber's New Testament, it says this in the beginning. In the introduction, it says, "Whoever then seeks to know what is true and what is untrue in the Bible as we have it today can find out only in the way in which all God-fearing people in the past have sought the truth, namely by communicating with God's spirit world." And he goes on to say in the next paragraph, "I myself was a Catholic priest, and until I was 48 years old, had never so much as believed in the possibility of communicating with the world of God's spirits. The day came, however, when I was involuntarily took my first step towards such communication, and experienced things that shook me to the depths of my soul. After I had taken the first step, I could not stop. I must go forward. I must have enlightenment." See, Johannes Greber believed that the only way you could find truth was by talking with the spirit world, but this is not biblical. There's one last quote on this page, page 15, that is very important. "In the rare instances in which a text pronounced correct by the divine spirits can be found in none of the manuscripts available today, I have used the text as it was given to me by those spirits." So what he's saying is the spirits would tell him something, but it wasn't in the Bible. It wasn't in the manuscripts or anything, but instead of going with the Bible or with the manuscripts, he went with what the spirits said instead. No true religion would quote from a spirit medium in support of their doctrine. Now, there are two questions we can ask here. Did the Watchtower know that he was a spirit medium, or did they not know? Well, let's look at what the Watchtower says about spirits. You might remember this pamphlet. It's from the Watchtower. Let's read something they wrote. "Another way that Satan misleads people is through mediums. I'll let Jim Babber tell you, so you don't think I'm the only one who thinks this."
I want to stop here. Did you hear that? Satan misleads people through mediums. Here's a book from a medium. The Watchtower says Satan misleads you through mediums. Jehovah's Witness,
Testigo de Jehová,
you've been misled
usted ha sido engañado
according to your own literature.
según su propia literatura.
I'm going to continue reading. A medium is a person who is able to receive messages directly from the spirit world. A great many people, including mediums themselves, believe that these messages come from spirits of the dead, but as we have seen from the Bible, this is impossible. From whom then do these messages come? The demons themselves. So as we see, the Watchtower does know where they come from. Now on this page, page 21, we're going to read this part right here. "The Bible condemns these things, saying there should not be found in you anyone who employs divination, a practitioner of magic, or anyone who looks for omens, or a sorcerer, or one who binds others with a spell, or anyone who consults a spirit medium, or a professional fortune teller, or events, or anyone who inquires of the dead. For everybody doing these things is something detestable to Jehovah." Okay, from this we see that they do know it is detestable to Jehovah. But remember the question, did they know if Johannes Greber was a medium or not? Well, let's see. Okay, we're going to go to April 1st, 1983, and this Watchtower in the back, questions from readers. I'm sure some of you are familiar with. Why in recent years has the Watchtower not made use of the translation by former Catholic priest Johannes Greber? And then in the answer, they go on to tell how Greber relied on God's spirit world to clarify some difficult passages to him, and how his wife is a spirit medium. But interestingly here it says, the Watchtower has deemed it improper to make use of a translation that has such a close rapport with Spiritism. So they promised here that they would not, we are ceasing to use his New Testament. They promised in 1983 they would not use Johannes Greber's translation again. Let us take a look and see if they stuck to that promise or not. And Jehovah's Witnesses, what would you do if they didn't? Well, let's look.
So let me ask you, Jehovah's Witness, do you believe the Watchtower? You believe they're not going to use them again? Here, and question from the readers, they'll not do it again. What would you do if they did? What would you do?
¿Qué haría?
Now here's this book. It's in Spanish. It's from 1987 from the Watchtower. It's Aid to Bible Understanding, but the Spanish version of it. Now remember, I told you to pay attention to the dates. This is from 1987. Remember that Watchtower? It was from 1983. They said they would not use Greber again. But this book is from 1987. Now this is 4 years later. And on page 1258, you see here again another favorable quote from Johannes Greber. Now they said they wouldn't use him again, but here they are in 1987 using Greber again. You see, to the English-speaking brothers and sisters, they promised they wouldn't use him, but they deceived their Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters. This is not honest. Remember that Watchtower from 1983, questions from readers? Well, here's the same Watchtower in Spanish, but when you go to the back, there's some differences. There is no question from readers. Now you might be saying that is terribly dishonest. They've lied to these poor brothers and sisters. But they have been lying and deceiving all along. They haven't just been lying to the Spanish-speaking brothers, they've been lying to the English-speaking. Remember that question, did they know? There's this book, What Do the Scriptures Say About Survival After Death? This was written in 1955. And on page 88, they are warning Jehovah's Witnesses about Johannes Greber, that he is a spirit medium, and about his book, Communication with the Spirit World. But as we saw in the beginning of this video, 7 years later, they start quoting Greber favorably. So as you see, they've known all along that Greber was a spirit medium. And here we have the Watchtower from October 1st, 1955, and on page 603, it's the exact same thing. They're once again warning about Johannes Greber being a spirit medium. And here we have the Watchtower from February 15th, 1956, on page 110. This whole article here is against Spiritism. And in here they tell about Greber and how he is a spirit medium and how he wrote his translation and his book. It says here very plainly the spirits in which ex-priest Greber believes helped him in his translation. They go on in this article to warn about mediums who talk to spirits, and the good spirits and the bad spirits, and how they can't tell the difference. And they're explaining that Johannes Greber, his spirits were the exact same. They were these bad spirits. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses, you've seen from Watchtower literature that consulting mediums and spirits is detestable to Jehovah. And you've also seen how the Watchtower knew from 1955 that Greber was a spiritist, but they still consulted him. So therefore, the Watchtower is detestable to Jehovah.